guys are good to go.
The right
So
is
then let
not
me know.
my screen.
Oh, it's not your screen. It's from the previous team. So, okay, should be
There we go.
available now.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep,
Hello
looks like
and
I see
welcome.
all.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
sorry.
get
Go
going.
ahead.
Hello and welcome to Team Kilo's presentation on Spacify. We are focusing on pre-launch technologies, specifically for the Launch Equipment Test Facility, or LETF process, that space companies like Space Erase, that we got a demo from, or if you have like a space component, like an O-ring, need to get your widget tested before it gets into a launch vehicle and goes off into space. So who are we? My name is Angie, and I'm the subject matter expert, if you will, by proxy. I grew up on the Space Coast area of Florida. All my family works at NASA or retired from there. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I used to sell lemonade and parking actually in my yard and made bank on the candy money um, from all those shuttle launches. So I'm joined here by two full stack rock stars. Becky is our sane civilian saint, an Army contractor, and brings intel from past fallen hackathons. And Blaze is so blazingly fast. I'm not fully convinced he's human. In fact, I think he might be Devin's AI brother. Um, and here's what we're going to cover real quick. We're going to go over customers, their problems, how we're going to solve them, a really quick demo, and then jump into Q&A and wrap it up. So who is the customer? It's actually my Aunt Diane. Uh, she's a former LETF employee. So in my customer discovery interviews with her, she's identified the job titles of test, project, and quality engineers at space companies and component manufacturers of things that go into space, who need to get their widget, component, device, satellite, space vacuum into space. And so their problems are, this is a significant hurdle to even just get into the LETF queue and tested. So there's many rounds of in real life revisions and back and forth meetings with LETF techs and engineers to nail down like what exactly is what tests are going to be run, what are the parameters, how many people is it going to take, what's it going to cost. And here's a quote directly from my Aunt Diane. I apologize for her language, but she says, well, it's actually a big fat meeting, multiple. Everybody gets into a conference room, they yell, they bitch, they piss and moan, they cuss at each other. And then me and the project lead just sit here and write down what they finalize and come up with for cost and tests. So we've built an LETF compliant submission platform with an AI driven reports automation backend, lowering costs and increasing efficiencies. So this user-friendly process also reduces time and generally promotes making friends with your LETF engineers rather than enemies. Okay, so what have we done to get here so far? We've used React, Next.js, PostgreSQL, LangChain with Flowwise, which is like a super cool no-code LangChain tool. So if you're zoomed in on my center screen presentation, go ahead and zoom back out and go to the far left screen where we'll do our demo. And let's act like we are Space Erase and we're going to need our space vacuum to be tested, right? So we're going to our website. This is right now just capturing email addresses, but this could be the login page. I am logged into my dashboard, and from my dashboard, I can go and look at past launches, analytics, but right now we want to do a new project. So add new project. Well, later on we can import. Right now we've got to create a new project. Okay, projects. What tests as a quality engineer or a test engineer does my widget need to go through? Well, I think it needs to do, and they're kind of cool tests. These are just 9 of like 50 tests that the LETF can do. So there's vibration, pull tests, temperatures. Let's do vibration. There's liquid oxygen, non-destructive, which doesn't sound very fun. Combustion test sounds fun, but let's do non-destructive. Pressure tests, crypto or cryo, sorry, cryo. Let's do those ones, and load tests, and there's many more. So what are the parameters for these actual tests? Like what's pass fail, right? What can they handle? Well, for vibration tests, it's going to be frequencies, right? And for cryo, it's going to be temperatures and crush sensitivity. For non-destructive, it's shear and magnetic and all this stuff. So we'll click submit with our parameters. Give it a second. It's got to go to space. Not really, but what it's doing in the back end is saying, okay, well, it's computing like what are the LETF costs for engineers, for their machines, what's the facilities fees for like fuel and power and any other inputs that they need, as well as what are these associated costs going to charge for us to go to space. But also, it's going to package it all up into this really nice report that makes it much easier for LATF to do its thing and make this back and forth a lot super fast. And as you can see, going to space is not cheap. Okay, so let's go back to our main screen if you're zoomed in, and we'll go back to our slide deck and we'll call it there. Love to take some questions.
Awesome. Just right under the 5 minute limit here. So, Adriana or Jeff, any questions here?
Yeah, I have a question.
And I'd
Um,
like my team to jump off mute too and help me with the questions.
yes. um, so, excuse me, I can see the value in this, and it looks really great. And thank you for presenting. Um, did you guys scout out any competitors that might be doing something similar? And how do you think your product differentiates from it?
Yeah, not to my knowledge. My Aunt Diane had talked to another coworker as well, and neither that person or my Aunt Diane had said anything about competitors. And currently, if I can show you that it is this really antiquated document of a task order. And this task order in this example is 10 pages, and this example actually costs $6 million. But it's currently a paper-driven process with emails and in real life meetings.
Cool. Oh, wow. Wow. um, I do have another question. Let's say there are failures with the testing. Do you guys generate any reports, or will that be like maybe an add-on feature that you add for maybe like higher ups that want to look at those reports?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. We haven't spec'd out like all of it in the future, but yes, absolutely. Customer discovery is my big shtick. I will not build a thing unless it's got customer discovery behind it, pointing us in the right direction of what our MVP needs to look like. But yeah, that's a great idea. But really, the LETF engineers and the technicians are the ones that do these tests. They don't let the companies do this. And so they're going to be the ones to say, oh, I broke your thing, or I
Hmm.
found its limitations. Send us another one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, which is another aspect too that we're curious to do in our roadmap of though is that like how do you even get your widget or your satellite to the LETF? That's a whole other logistical nightmare as well that could be part of an MVP that's critical to this as well. But again, customer discovery.
Awesome. So I would love to know, like, how's this math happening on the back end? It just looks like magic, right? Like put in a bunch of stuff, and then I have this giant number. Um, so yeah, where'd you guys, I guess, pull the data from? How did you build the calculation out?
Yeah, so a lot of the calculations were this hypothetical scenario. So I'm a radar technician by training from the Air Force. And so I've got some concept of this as well as like absorption from my family over the years. And so we found these reports that tell us about the capabilities of the LETF and the standards and the tests that they run. And so from that, we know that there are certain specific tests, like for the vibration test example, like there are all these machines that run, and we did some very back of the napkin concepts. So like I said, what if there were four different kinds of machines? One cost 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 25 million. And based on like the cost of an engineer, the machine cost and its upkeep and its this and it's that, and how many hours they run first, second, and third shifts for technicians out of the Cape, and second and third shifts make more money. So we had to calculate their salary in that as well. So like um, we basically did simplistic math of engineer machine fees down to a machine cost per hour based on all of those things, given that the vibration testing isn't really going to need a $25 million machine. It's just going to have a thing that's bolted to the wall and the floor, and that vibrates on 3 axes. But the other tests, like the cryo tests and the crush tests and even the transportation tests, those things are super, super, super expensive.
Awesome. Thank you. Is this hosted somewhere that I could visit? Like maybe on Vercel, sounds like you guys use Next.
We can do
Blaze,
you
wanna
one
jump in?
better. Yeah, I'd love for you guys to open up your browser, open up a new tab, and type in spacify.org, and prepare to be amazed. We spent a lot of time on this, and we think that this could actually be a real product. So you might as well jump on the branding. We have a stellar team already. I couldn't have asked for a better team. We defied all these odds. Like, clearly we have the smallest team from everyone, and we got so much done. I couldn't be more proud of the work that we all did together. So we have our site deployed to spacify.org, and yes, we are using Vercel to manage our deployment for CI/CD plus GitHub Actions.
Yeah, so these two folks, Becky and Blaze, they were pair programming from basically start going.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
I guess, yeah, one question for Blazing Blaze is, it looks like you were in the Marine Corps. Could you tell us a little bit about your MOS and was it technical? And if not, how did you get into tech? I'm just super curious, and I would love to have you guys on a podcast along with every other team as well.
Yeah, of course. So my Marine Corps journey was kind of interesting. So I am a recent Marine Corps vet. I spent the majority of my time as a flight school student, but for a various number of reasons that I'd love to talk to offline rather, I could go through a laundry list. I decided to drop out of flight school. I was already in advanced. I was going to be a C-130 pilot, but I decided that this is not the path for me. I was redesignated to be your good old 0102 battalion adjutant, and I spent some time with some artillery gentlemen at 110, and then spent some time with the engineers at 8th Engineer Support Battalion. And throughout that whole process, like, it was kind of technical. I loved to learn. I loved Marines. I loved supporting Marines. And I do miss it already. I miss being like having young Marines to mentor. That was a very rewarding experience.
Nice. Yeah. Again, I was just super curious. I'm not part of the judging panel, and so I'm not trying to show
Okay.
favoritism or anything like that. But just always curious about fellow Marines. But good to go. And then yeah, please post your information if you haven't done so, and then audience members can ask any questions, and you guys can answer asynchronously. And then yeah, let's go ahead and get Team Lima onto the stage here.